Look what finally came in after a lot of waiting. This took a lot longer to come in than I thought. Actually, an 18-wheeler backed up our driveway over the river over there yesterday, which was pretty impressive. But these finally came in. So hopefully today I'm gonna get to put them on our big solar stand that we built. It's a rainy day, so I won't really be able to test them that well, but I'm gonna start slapping these things on and showing you how we wire this whole thing together. So we're gonna start putting these on here. The only thing that's gonna be kind of guesswork on this, because I didn't know where the plugs were. You'll see under here, I got the plugs. Hopefully we can line this up with the bottom of the rack, and the plugs will be somewhere in the middle of one of these and not right on one of the pieces of strapping. So hopefully that'll line up. That's the only thing that I couldn't get the dimensions for. So hopefully it'll line up. Luckily, one of the cool things about the way I built this is that I can just take a screw, like a metal roofing screw, and put it through here into this. What they usually do is they try to sell you these brackets that go onto here and come out so you can screw from the top down. But those cost about $30 per set. So for 6 panels, you know, it would have been $180. It's total ripoff. So that's what's really cool about doing it this way. Even if this was all plywood, it'd be really hard to aim and do it this way. But with the strapping, I can see it and just zip right through to it. We got the first one on, and looks like the cables are in a place that I can work with them. So I think we just start slapping them on now. What do you think?
Let's get to slapping.
Slapping. Look at that. They're all up. Looking good. The dogs are here to help. So now what we got to do is we have to wire these all together. It gets kind of techy, so I won't get into it too much, but each one of these panels, it kind of looks like 2 panels. So these are actually 24-volt panels. So I don't have to wire any of them in series. I have to just wire them all in parallel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the positives are going to one positive, all the negatives going to one positive. If you were to do it in series, kind of like I did on those, each one of those, it's pairs of 2. So a positive goes to a negative, a positive goes to a negative, a positive goes to a negative, and then it's parallel from there. Kind of techie, weird stuff. But to do this, I just found these fancy little doohickeys on the internet, and hopefully this will make the job easy. It's literally 6 plugs to 1. So I don't know, I got these extra long. I don't know if they're all gonna reach the cables that came on the panels, but if not, I'll just have to make some cables myself, make some MC4 connections myself. Let's see. There's one. There's 2 of the positives. There's the 3rd one. The 4th one is way... Where's the 4th one? Oh wait, no, there's only 3. And now hopefully... Oh god, it's gonna be a stretch. It might work. It might work. Let's see. It's kind of like a spider web. I need that. This is a miracle. This could be really easy.
Yeah, plug and play. Maybe.
Wow. That's all the positives together.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Yay.
Never found it to be this easy, but it was, so usually I'm making cable extensions, making these MC4 connectors on wire, but they all reached with these extra long 6-to-1s and the 3-foot cables that came on the panels. It all reached. So what we have is one that's going to go to the house, and another one that's going to go to the house. We have positive and negative, so all I have to do is I bought 100 feet of 6-gauge wire, so some nice fat wire, so we don't get too much voltage drop on its way to the house, because when you're working with DC rather than AC, voltage drop is a real thing. We're probably still going to experience some. It's not going to be 100% efficient unless you're running like a big fat welding wire, which to run like 2-watt cable that far would cost, I don't know, $1,000 probably. So we're running 6-gauge. It's very minimal losses anyways. So I only have to make 2 of these MC4s. So I have a little kit to make these things. Yeah. So I'm going to take my wire and make some MC4 connectors, and then we'll run it to the house and start hooking things all together. Okay, so we're in our disaster room. This room stresses us out. It's completely unfinished, and it's just holding a bunch of stuff. It's terrible. It's on the project list. But anyways, so we're going to put another charge controller. We got another charge controller right here, and the wires are going to run from that outside to the panels and then to the batteries. We'll wire that all up in a second, but the first thing we need to do is drill a hole in the floor, unfortunately, to get them out there. I did these ones before we put any of this. Oh, I got the dogs going. Put this on before I put any of this wood paneling on, so I was able to drop them through the middle of the wall. Could probably try to snake it, but it's going to be hard to do it that way. So I'm going to drill holes actually under this box, this stand that holds these up, and drill a hole down in there, because someday I'll put wood paneling on this, so it'll look like it comes out of there, out of the wall, over to here. So I'm going to drill a hole down there, and we're going to run the wires all the way to the solar panels, about 85, 90 feet away. I'm under the house right now. Not a fun place to be. Mariah's feeding the wires down through the floor to me. There's no space under here. Hopefully I won't be here for long. Alright, so we got the wires run outside, up through the floor into here. Now I'm going to mount a couple breakers here. One for this array, and I'm actually adding one to this array because it's kind of silly. I never had an actual good disconnect for the solar panels that we have, so I ordered 2 of them, so I'll cut one of these wires too and put it through a breaker so we have the option of turning the solar off. So I'm gonna mount those breakers and then another big charge controller right next to this. So this is our new big charge controller here. This is pretty much the brains of the operation. So everything, the 2 wires will come from the solar panels and go into the PV here, which is for photovoltaic. That's just the wire for solar. So it's gonna come into here, and then wires will come out of the battery to our positive and negative bus bars. It's kind of a mess in there, but it's the same thing that's happening here on our other one. These 2 wires come in from the solar. These 2 come down, loop down, negatives on the bus bar, positives on the positive bus bar, which goes up to our batteries. So that's how it charges. Like I said, I'm adding these breakers, so it'll actually come from the solar panels to this breaker, from the breaker to here. That makes it so I can shut them down pretty simply. And do the same thing for our other array. So we're gonna start wiring this together on this side. Hi.
What are you doing?
Stripping some wire. I'm gonna put it on a lug, hopefully. nice crimp on there. We'll heat shrink some of this on. We'll be in good shape.
Ghetto heat shrinkage.
I know, I have a heat gun for this, but...
This uses no electricity.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think so.
There's our positive wire. Hopefully, get that nice and tight. Give it a pull test. Looks pretty good. Put that on the breaker. And our positive line from the solar will be all good. We'll do the battery last. All right, so we got the solar wires attached on this end. They are not attached outside yet. Even though I put the solar wires in first, it is really important that this thing gets power from the battery before the solar panels go on. So same thing with this. Since I'm going to redo this one, I have to go disconnect the solar panels from outside so I can turn the batteries off to make this all happen. But then in the future, I'll be able to just turn them off right here. So I'm going to go unplug the other solar array from outside and turn the batteries off with our main disconnect on the batteries. And I'll start wiring this thing to the bus bars over here. Yeah. What do you think of all this?
It's amazing.
It's a mess. I think only I would understand this because I put it together. Someday I'll make it all clean.
Yeah, one day. Batteries are off.
Yeah. Everything is off. The power in the house is off. Everything is off. So, first I guess I gotta just cut this little guy with enough to get to there, hopefully. Alright, so it's actually the next day now. It started raining and it was starting to get dark yesterday, so I was able to get it pretty much all finished up though. Here are the cables that are running from the house over to our solar panels. And I got it all plugged in. I'm gonna clean up these wires a little bit in here, but we are all plugged in and ready to go. So unfortunately it's another really rainy, gray day, but I'm gonna turn them on and just see how we're looking. I'm probably not going to get much power today at all, but that's all right. Hopefully it works. I think it's all right. We've double checked all of our connections. Positives are to positive, negatives are to negative. So let's head inside, turn the breakers on, and see what we're getting. Both the charge controllers are ready to go. Added a breaker to this one. Put the breaker in for this one. These two wires are going outside. The two wires that are for the battery come down over to these bus bars. Positives to positive, negatives to negative. Let's start by turning our other one on, the one that's been there. See what happens there. And I guess I'll turn this one on. We'll pull up the app on Mariah's phone and see what we're getting for power. Probably not much today. All right, everything turned on, so that's good. Definitely not getting much power here, but here's our small array, the original one. It's pulling 22 watts, not very much at all. But the good news here is the big array, the new one, is working. It's producing double what this is doing. So 46 watts. That's pretty cool. So that is good news. I'll be really curious to see how it handles itself once we get a big sunny day. But we're in business. We are in business, Mariah.
We're in business.
What do you think?
Oh, it's so exciting. Our house is a plant. Photosynthesizes. It's not green.
All right, well, stay tuned. We'll give you some updates on how it all works. You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.